Alright, good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidgoldd, as now all know, and now welcome to co-worker radio and television stations. Station will be given a back-to-back as you have a body call. We will drop our sharply. Still on this court matter, farotimi don dey talk wetin dey pain am. For this video, what I want to show you now. It don't talk say na American, na them be the source of corruption for Nigeria. He don't talk say that them be the source of corruption. That in fact it is Americans that now them they encourage corruption for Nigeria. He say one, they go buy their visa. Two, they go invest their money, take buy house, take open company for their own country. Meanwhile, Nigeria they don't do anything. Say they are the main source of corruption in Nigeria. He say in fact, for this election will happen, we kata take the group that borrow the whole thing where they put, say they do all the whole way they do. Say it is still the fault of America. What I mean is here.
American friends, those who know in Nigeria bring their wealth to this land and you give them succor. You convict them here, you release them to Nigeria. A drug indicted criminal is about to become the president of my country, and you, Americans, are the ones normalizing the insanity.
When I spoke about the 5 most corrupt countries in the world and put America at number 2, United States of America, a lot of people complained, a lot of people even abused and insulted me. But the reason I gave for putting America in number 2 is the exact same reason for the statement, the speech that Dele farotimi is given or gave at an event in the United States of America. The truth is, for you to determine what corruption is, you must first of all determine who benefits the most from corruption. Now, Dele farotimi is pained. I am pained.
Our American friends will tell us we have a democracy, and that is why Nigeria must be protected and everything must be kept quiet. We must have peace. They speak peace to us, but they never talk to us about justice. Those who know in Nigeria bring their wealth to this land and you give them succor. They carry your green cards, they carry your passports, they buy your citizenship, they buy homes in this place. You convict them here, you release them to Nigeria. If they were drug dealers, members of the Nahel drug cartel, you'll be busy talking about all kinds of sanctions on them. You wouldn't allow them in your country. Yeah. But you have them living here. Their children are here. They ruin my country. I can't live in yours. I visit. And when I stay longer than 3 weeks, I'm already having withdrawal symptoms. All I want to do is go back to mine. But you make my country impossible to live in because of your subjectification of the truth. You sit down on a day-to-day basis and you preach down at us and you tell us about just how much democracy works for Africa. But you do everything to undermine our democracy because you give succor to criminals in your cities. I can't open a bank account in America because I'm a Nigerian. But the groups ruling my country put their monies in your accounts. I can't open an account. The only crime is I'm a Nigerian. A drug indicted criminal is about to become the president of my country, and you, Americans, are the ones normalizing the insanity. When I speak to the subjectification of truth, it sounds sometimes like, actually, it's another word for hypocrisy.
No sane Nigerian, in fact, no sane African will not be pained at the effect of and the devastation of corruption in Nigeria and indeed in Africa. But what many people fail to understand is that corruption was created by the West, by the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF, the World Bank. Corruption was created by them for one purpose and one purpose only. They need our money. They need our resources to develop their countries. That's all. And how do they get it? During the Agric Revolution, they needed our people, our able-bodied men and women. So, what did they do? they used the slave trade to get our able-bodied men to go over to their places, and then they help them to farm their lands, and they get the goods, and they are okay. They didn't mind that they were using our able-bodied men and women. The best of us at the time, the strongest of us, use them by force as slaves. Take them to their plantations, the sugarcane plantations, whatever plantations they had, and use them to develop their country. Look, many people think that they ended slavery because they discovered that slavery was bad. No. The West did not end slavery because they thought that slavery was bad. They ended slavery because they discovered or invented the steam engine. They no longer needed a lot of manpower anymore after the discovery of the steam engine. That was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. They now had machines that can do the work of 1,000 men. So they no longer needed human beings to come and work in their plantations anymore. That is why they ended slavery. Upon ending slavery and starting their industries, they no longer needed human beings, but another kind of need arose for them, and that was what? Mineral resources. Their factories needed mineral resources, and what better way to get it than to come down to Nigeria, to Africa, and colonize us? That was what started colonization. That was what ended slavery, and that was what started colonization. Now, many people think that colonization stopped because the West realized that colonization was bad. They didn't stop colonization because they realized colonization was bad. No. Colonization stopped across Africa because the French, the British, the Italians, the Germans, they were devastated by the Second World War. In fact, they no longer had the military might to sustain the oppression of colonization. Add to that the Cold War between the United States of America and USSR, what you now know today as Russia. And United States of America single-handedly forced Britain, forced France, forced Europe to abandon colonialism, because the United States had put in place the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, to create a new kind of tool, which is corruption, that will ensure the continuous flow of the resources of Africa to them. That was why they stopped colonization, because they could not sustain the military power to continue it, and because of the influence of the United States, which was the emerging single world superpower at that time. And they put in place corruption. They created corruption. The United States of America, the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF, the World Bank, they created corruption to achieve one goal. The same goal of the slave trade, the same goal of colonization, the same goal of this corruption-induced resource transfer. I call it corruption-induced resource transfer. That is what is responsible for this. And if you look at the core, if you listen to the core of Dele Farotimi's message, this is what he was talking about. Basically, in his message. I share his pain. But you see, the message is to us all Africans, not just Nigerians. We have a country to save. We have Nigeria to save. We have Africa to save. And our African leaders must realize how stupid and how dumb they are. Really. They are being used as pawns, and they are given bait of corruption. And they fall into it. They are happy to steal our resources, to be given cars, to be given houses, to be given lands, to be given green passport. Imagine, is it not an insult for a United Kingdom to be saying that, oh, if any political leader engages in political thuggery, we will issue visa ban? Seriously. Visa ban to America, to Britain is supposed to be punishment. Meanwhile, how effective really are these visa bans? How effective is this visa ban for Desiani Alison Madueke, how effective is it? How effective is this visa ban for Sheyi Tinubu, who can buy a house worth $11 million in cash in an environment that promotes cashless policy? How effective is that visa ban? Nigerians and indeed Africans must realize that they are being played, particularly the leaders. They are just stupid and dumb, and they don't realize it. They are given the same bait, the same bait. You know, when the slave trade started, it started because the Westerners, first the Portuguese, then the British, came with mirror, with ogogoro, with powder. They came with those things, and in exchange for mirror, ogogoro, and powder, our forefathers, some of them, were willing to sell their fellow brothers and sisters into slavery just to get those. So they give them the best of our resources, which is our able-bodied men and women. During colonization, the same thing. They give some of us, they tell us, oh, we are going to train you to the United Kingdom, send you to school to go and train you there. That was what happened during colonization. They take one or two of you and they teach you English. And the English they taught at that time, I'm a student of education, proudly. And I can tell you that from 1847 to 1947, a period of 100 years, no single university in Nigeria. During a period of 100 years of British civil colonization of Nigeria, of Africa, not a single university. That's to tell you that they were never really interested in Nigeria or Africa developing. They were just interested in training people who can be interpreters to them, who can help them subdue the rest of the population. That's all. So they will give them car, give them training abroad, and then begin to use them as interpreters, as tools to suppress the rest of the population so they can continue to extract our resources for their factories in the Europe and in the Americas. That was what they were doing. And they are doing it now. Our leaders find it worthy to sell the resources of Nigeria, to engage in a scam like fuel subsidy, in a scam like grounding Ajaokuta steel, grounding Alaja steel, engage in those kind of scam just to ensure that the resources of Nigeria and indeed the resources of Africa flows to the Western powers and now to the Eastern powers like China and India and the rest. Nigerians, we have a responsibility. We have a job in our hands. We must expose this truth so that we will know that the salvation of Nigeria is actually in our hands. These Western powers, you think they will save Nigeria's democracy? Of course not. They created the corruption in here, so they can use it to destroy Nigeria. So they can use it to keep Nigeria perpetually poor, so that the resources of Nigeria can perpetually flow to them. Where do you think they get the mineral resources they use to build their F-16s, their F-22s, the Raptor, all their fighter jets? Where do you think they get it from? The B-2 bombers, the B-12 bombers, the metals they need. They get it from Congo. They get it from Africa. They get it from Nigeria. So they won't continue to get it free of charge if Nigeria is peaceful and developing. Why should we export our metal resources? Because when we talk about extractive industry in Nigeria, many of the ministers, many of the leaders in here are talking about, oh, we can make some money from exporting our iron ore, from exporting our mineral resources, our tin, our bauxite, our tantalum. Why can't we get Ajaokuta up and running in Nigeria so that we can turn these raw materials into finished goods here and begin to manufacture our own engine blocks here and begin to manufacture our own cars here and begin to manufacture our own guns here and begin to manufacture our own tractors here, our own cars for police and security, our own power lines. Everything you need to get a refinery working is based on steel. Yet, our foolish leaders, all of them foolish. Our foolish leaders will not get Ajaokuta, will not get Alaja Steel Company up and running because they are happy with the peanuts that the Western powers give them. And they sell the rest of us into slavery. We are still slaves, in case you don't know. and it's up to us to free ourselves. That was what Bob Marley said. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. We are in an era of mental slavery. They enslave us with all manner of tools, social media, with religion, all manner of tools that keeps us mental slaves. It's up to us to emancipate ourselves. And that can only happen when we come to the realization of truths. These truths are hard, but they are truths that we need. We are the only ones that can free ourselves. None but ourselves can free ourselves. That's what Bob Marley said over 30 years ago. But it's still true today. Nigerians, we have a job to do. That is why we need to begin to put laws in place. See, the free food stamp law is so important because the primary tool that they use to put this corruption in place is hunger. It's hunger and poverty. That's what the Western powers, that's the primary tool they use. And in order for them to activate it, they put in place corrupt leaders that will ensure that the population, the general population, continues to be poor and hungry. So for us to set ourselves free, the first step is to ensure that food is not a problem for any Nigerian. And that's why I'm still talking about it again. If you have not subscribed, please click the link in the description and subscribe. Let us put this free food stamp and social welfare law into effect. In addition to other, the Electoral Act 2022 needs to change now. Things need to change in there. These are the things that we should pursue. We cannot keep pursuing individuals because they will compromise the individuals. It's very easy for them to compromise the individuals. Look at what just happened now that Bloomberg did, releasing a report about Seyi Tinubu's purchase of $11 million property in the United Kingdom. Look at that. Many people think, oh, Bloomberg did the right thing. It's a hoax. It's warning shots that Bloomberg is firing. Warning Tinubu that he has to play ball. If not, they have a lot more than that about Tinubu. Don't they have the information about Tinubu's drug case? There are more indicting information that they can release, but they have held on to it because with that, they can control our president. It's just warning shots. Those of you who are excited that Bloomberg released that report, they're just excited for nothing. It's warning shots that Bloomberg fired. Warning shots at Tinubu. And so that completely puts at risk the entire democracy, the entire progress of Nigeria. That is why people like us are fighting tooth and nail to ensure that the mandate of Peter Obi is restored, because that's the shortest path to the new Nigeria that we deserve. And you have to be a part of it. The time to be a standard by is gone. Now everybody needs to be active. If we're all...
So, you don't hear them. You don't hear them. Who go hear this kind of when you go pay now? For your own country, say they are the main number one after colonization. After we get independent, still yet, inside independent, I've been independent, they call them, we still there under slavery. Nigeria still there under slavery. Imagine. They will come give us small peanuts. And all these our leaders, where they say they no get sense. Now true, they get sense, no get sense. Because if they were using their senses properly, they go no say white men will only use them, give them peanut to earn billions from their own side. I beg, my Nigerian people, let us join hands together. May we make sure say this country better by fire by force. How can a drug dealer want to be a president over us? What does that mean? Which means you are encouraging others to be a drug dealer. According to Yoruba go talk say, Esin waju ni teyin wo sare, which means it is the horse in the front that is leading. Other horses will follow. Any road that will follow, they follow. Oh, when drug dealer come become our president. When person they use money to mago come become our president, what go happen? Then be say Ojuro go full everywhere. Corruption will not become the order of the day. My people, use your head. I don't talk my own, no. And I don't close my own. Bye. Ìgbó ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ọmọ ní ìfowóṣe ni.